Patrol's coming.
That's the one people we can call. Yeah.
I talked to Lieutenant Henry.
Oh, that's it.
This police officer did exactly what she was ordered to do, and now the city is trying to take her career for it. We are watching the literal breakdown of law enforcement hierarchy in real time. You won't believe what happens when local orders clash with federal law.
Yeah, I made clear yesterday, our goal here is not to provoke, but it's to protect. We get questions from residents every day about what will happen if we see the kind of forces of troops descend on Denver that they saw in Minneapolis. And I think what our residents want to know is that any law enforcement officer that operates in Denver will be transparent, will be accountable, and that the rule of law still applies. And that's what we wanted to let people know, is that we will have a duty to intervene if someone is injured. We will have a duty to investigate if there is a crime committed, and we'll have a duty to interfere. And
look closely at the language being used by the mayor here. He's essentially creating a legal no man's land in Denver. When he talks about a duty to intervene, he isn't just talking about local cops. He's authorizing them to physically detain ICE agents. That's a massive escalation that could lead to a direct confrontation between local police and federal officers on American streets. Think about the position this puts a patrol officer in. They're being told to choose between their city's executive order and federal statutes. If they don't intervene, they lose their job. If they do, they might be interfering with a federal operation. It's a total lose-lose scenario designed for political theater. But the guys wearing the badge are the ones who will pay the price when things get messy. This is essentially pitting two branches of law enforcement against each other, while criminals watch from the sidelines.
Venezuelan man when a fingerprint scanner didn't work and they found out he had a fake ID. DPD claims Wallet then violated department policy by calling Border Patrol to help figure out who the guy was, which led to him being taken into federal custody. But this new body camera video supports her claims that her lieutenant instructed her to call Border Patrol. Listen to this.
Check out the body cam footage again. It completely contradicts the department's initial story. The sergeant was literally following a direct command from her lieutenant to identify a suspect with a fake ID. But notice how fast the sanctuary politics took over. They tried to fire a 27-year veteran, not because she did her job poorly, but because she followed a protocol that didn't align with the current political narrative. It's a differential treatment policy that is so vague it can be used to punish almost any officer at any time. When you start handicapping police from even identifying people during a traffic stop, public safety is basically out the window. It's wild to see a member of Congress celebrating the suspension of an officer for just trying to figure out who was behind the wheel. It shows you that the truth is becoming secondary to the optics.
Honeypot operation. And I do believe that there's a list of individuals who did engage in trafficking, were given these plea deals, and I'm going to name those individuals right now. The first one would be Leslie Groff. The second one, Sarah Kellen. The third one, Nadia Markova. And the fourth one, Adriana Ross. All of these women engaged in the trafficking of minors as adults. They were working and complicit with Jeffrey Epstein's operation. And in my opinion, they are not to be given victim status because they did.
Did you catch the specific names Anna Paulina Luna just dropped? She isn't just talking about Epstein. She's categorizing this as a full-scale intelligence honeypot operation. This goes way deeper than a single criminal. She's alleging that people were given victim status specifically to protect them from being prosecuted for their roles in trafficking. It's a surgical strike on the narrative that these were all just employees. If she's right, there is a massive list of individuals who engaged in horrific crimes who are still walking free today because of plea deals. The most frustrating part? These names have been in the files for years, yet the focus always seems to shift away whenever things get too close to the real power players. You have to wonder why some people are resigning quietly behind the scenes while the media stays silent on the details of these files.
And they gave her an award in 2013 after Bill Clinton's body man and top aide tried to distance and said, hey, staff, Clinton Foundation, don't ever have Maxwell in again. And he reported right to Bill. So who overruled him? I think it's Either the last name is probably a Clinton.
Pay attention to that 2013 date Pat Fallon mentioned. This was long after everyone in those circles knew exactly who Maxwell and Epstein were. The idea that a top aide tried to block Maxwell from the Clinton Foundation only to be overruled is a huge red flag. It points to a direct connection that ignored every warning sign. When you see the photos of them together in casually acquainted settings, it makes the official depositions feel like a script. They're banking on the public not connecting the dots between the private jet logs and the foundation's donors. It's a masterclass in plausible deniability. I saw nothing is the ultimate shield when you're sitting at that level of power. But the paper trail and the photos tell a much more complicated story than what's being said under oath.
Is expected to approve a policy next week that would require federal agents clearly identify themselves and ban them from wearing masks. Now, previously, the Department of Homeland Security has told us they will not comply with what they call an unconstitutional ban. Now, for more context, cities like New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, Boston also have orders banning ICE from operating in city and state-run areas. And taking a closer look at Chicago here, last month the mayor signed an executive order creating ICE.
It's not just Denver. This ICE-free zone movement is spreading to every major hub, from Chicago to Boston. By banning federal agents from using city property or even parking lots for staging, these cities are creating a logistical nightmare for immigration enforcement. It's a deliberate attempt to slow down federal operations through red tape. But here's the kicker. The Department of Homeland Security has already stated they won't comply because it's unconstitutional. We're watching a slow-motion constitutional crisis happen in our own backyard. While the mayors are focused on these symbolic orders, the actual residents are left wondering who is actually looking out for their safety. It feels like a high-stakes game of chicken, where the law is just a suggestion. Things are shifting fast. Make sure you're following for the full breakdown. Catch you in the next one.